Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie vlog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well. And today I'm going to be doing a review of the movie 1917, which is now available today on Blu-ray. Now I did an initial reaction review when this film originally came out in theaters back in January, and it is just a fantastic film for so many different reasons. For those that don't know, this takes place during World War I. It focuses on two soldiers who have to get a message to one of their associates on the line because they are about to walk into a trap. And the big emotional connection there is that one of the two people that's being sent, his brother, is in that group of troops, and so therefore it's a huge motivation for him. And of course, to the other person that comes along with them, they're able to become a lot closer as they go through all these different trials together, and eventually, of course, it leads to a huge climax in the film and goes on to the end of the movie, and it's just absolutely fantastic. I just want to talk a little bit about more so the release of this movie on Blu-ray more so than the film itself. So if you want to see my full review, I'll probably have it in a card above my head at some point at the end of the video. And also you can just look at the channel, or it'll be on the Welcome to Asgard channel, my secondary channel, where I did a full review of the movie itself. But this is a fantastic release. The only criticism that I have so far of the Universal release of this movie is that the copy that I was sent, and again, a huge shout out and huge thank you to Universal for sending me a copy to review, is that they put this really just like obscure, or rather not obscure, but just very, I don't like this. So they put a sticker on the slipcover, and they put it in a position where I tried to take it off, and it's doing damage to the slipcover now. And so, Universal, please do not do that in future releases. Again, I appreciate this being sent for me to review, and I understand that it is indeed a review copy, but I feel like there's a better way to go about doing this, whether it's just wrapping it in plastic or putting it on the inside cover that is wrapped in plastic. That way it can be taken off. I mean, again, you'll get the same message without having to do actual damage to it itself. But as you can see, it did indeed win some Academy Awards. So not only was it just an amazing, the one that it mentions on here is cinematography, and that's one I do want to talk about for a little bit, because for those who don't know, Roger Deakins does the cinematography on this film. And the cinematography is probably one of the best things about this movie, because everything is said and made to look like it is one take, like it is one shot. And they're able to do these really clever edits, which they luckily go into a little bit in this film. And that's the one thing that this film does have, even on this Blu-ray copy. You don't just have to get the 4K to get all the special features. This thing is chock full of video vignettes breaking down the score, breaking down how they did the cinematography. There's one about the actors and all the people that were involved with it. And most of them are relatively short, within the 10-minute mark or so, but they're actually all very, very much full of information, and they're all very well done. There's also two commentaries on here. So not only do you have a commentary track of the film from the director Sam Mendes, you also have a separate track, which is the cinematographer Roger Deakins doing his commentary. And so that's something I was not able to listen to all the way through, because as you all know, I love watching movies. But watching movies again and again with multiple different commentaries can be kind of a daunting task. But I was able to watch all of the special features on here. So some of the things they have is The Weight of the World, Sam Mendes. So obviously just the the reason why this film was so important to him. It has a lot of connections to a family relative of his, and the stories that he heard. I believe it was his grandfather, the stories that he heard from his grandfather from World War I, and that's kind of what inspired him to make this story. You have Allied Forces, the making of 1917, which talks about how they made the film, and basically how Sam Mendes was told that he wanted to make this film, but he didn't know who he could get to write it. And so a lot of the people he worked with said, hey, why don't you go ahead and write it? He's like, I don't know how to write a movie. And just the people that he brought on board to help him with that process, since he was not a writer himself. So it's really cool breaking that all down. Of course, also the score of 1917 and other features as well. It's fantastic. Very well done. It comes with a digital copy code. This edition does, at least the Blu-ray release, comes with a Blu-ray, DVD, and digital code from Movies Anywhere. So you have all your formats covered. You have your digital copy. You have your DVD for those that don't have Blu-rays yet, but I do recommend upgrading to the Blu-ray copy, because I was able to watch the film in its Blu-ray format, and all I can say is that it just looks gorgeous. Now, I think this is a film that is definitely better to be seen on a big screen. So if you were not able to see this in theaters, I feel really bad, because seeing this in IMAX was just, again, an amazing experience altogether. But I imagine that if one is able to get their hands on the 4K copy and has a 4K projector and is able to kind of get that full image, full sound, you're going to be blown away by this, because it comes with a great audio track. It comes with a great visuals. Even on the Blu-ray copy, though, this is a film that was not And this is a film that was shot digitally. It was shot in the 4K format. And so you'll get some of the best visuals when you get the 4K copy of this movie. You get kind of like the full image and the full stock of image of colors, etc., that you would expect for this movie. But I will say the Blu-ray copy is still very, very well put together, is still looking quite well, looks and sounds very good as well, even on my very simplistic system. I hope one day to be able to get an amazing screen and an amazing audio setup. But for now, I've got a first generation 4K TV that can barely even play 4K movies in general, and of course just the regular speakers on the TV as well. But even with all of that, it looks great. It sounds great. As I said before, I think that what they were able to do, what Sam Mendes was able to accomplish with this film, is truly amazing. And even though I loved Parasite, and obviously Parasite won a lot of Oscars this year, including Best Director and Best Picture, I think that this film should have won at the very least Best Director or Best Picture. Again, one or the two, because the amount of effort, because that's one of the cool things about the special features on this, it shows you how long it took them and how complicated all the shots were. Because when you make a film that looks like one shot and you only have so many cuts in the movie, you have to, of course, choreograph all of those scenes. And then you forget too that you have not just the actors that have choreography, you also have the camera workers and the camera operators that have to work at this as well. They're running around with these camera rigs on them, still keeping focus, still keeping the shot as well framed as they can. And so just the amount of work it took to actually make this film is truly remarkable. And I know that some people have said they didn't like it because it was boring or because they weren't invested in the characters, but I will say this much, man. I think that this does something that other films like it have not been able to do, because there's been some comparisons with this film with a couple other movies that focus on these characters, this focus on characters in this way, and it's more of an obscure characterization more so than having big actors, etc. But I will say this much: having these unknown actors playing, or relatively unknown actors playing these characters. So of course you have George McKay, who was in Captain Fantastic, which is another great film. I forgot that he was in that, but he was great in that. And also you have Dean Charles Chapman, who plays the other lead. He was actually in Game of Thrones. And as soon as you see his face, you'll be like, oh, I know that guy. Sorry that he had to die in that show. Because, again, spoilers, really not spoilers at this point if you haven't been watching Game of Thrones. And I recommend not watching that show because Season 8's terrible. But with all that being said, you got great acting, great cinematography, great visuals, great sound, great score. Again, the sound editing mixing on this is great too. Again, also Oscar-worthy as well. And Sam Mendes, great release. Universal, great release as well. Again, the only criticism is, please, when you're sending out review copies, I understand why you do it. It basically says, like, this is, again, given to you for the purpose of review, not reselling, etc., which I wasn't planning on reselling because I was already wanting to buy this on 4K anyway, and then this showed up in the mail, so I'm like, oh, I own it now. Maybe one day I'll buy the 4K once I actually get a legit 4K setup, but for now, Blu-ray copy does plenty with giving great visuals and audio as well. But anyway, have you seen 1917? Have you bought it yet? Again, it is available today for purchase. I'll leave a link or two in the description of this video if you want to buy your own copy. And again, shout out to Universal for sending me this copy for review. It's fantastic. Please do yourself a favor, watch this film, and buy it to own as well. Because in the case that we're living in right now with all the madness, again, Netflix could go down tomorrow. YouTube could go down tomorrow. All these other things that we use on a daily basis. But if you own it, if you have it, nothing can be changed, nothing can be taken away, and you'll always have it. So I always recommend physical media. I love physical media, and this is definitely one of the best films in my collection now because of just how well done it is put together. So let me know your thoughts about that and all the things I talked about in the comment section below. Like this video, smash that like button, hit that subscribe as well. It helps me out a lot. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless. And now to give a special shout out to my March Patreon and Subscribe Star members: animation commentator Brian P., Dion, David Brobrizik, Divex, Elizabeth M., Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Hail Father, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Honker Chonker Funky Monkey, Inflame Wood, Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, JJ Jonathan Jerembeck, Kenneth Camiel, Lady T, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Riff Racer Request, Rosetta Allen, Sir Lancelato, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, The DJD Show, and Tina B for Patreon, and my Subscribe Star peeps: Robert Revo, Larry, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Dark Star 57, Alex McCarthy, US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebadan G. Adams, and ZK Man, and Mike Jackson. Thank you all so much for being my Patreon and Subscribe Star members for the month of March. You are all amazing people. Thank you so much for the support, and I hope that you are enjoying your perks. If you do not know the perks that you get, make sure you read again through all the perks that are listed, and also check your messages if you're over on Patreon, because if you are a $5 and up backer on Patreon, you get special access to giveaways over on the Discord. I send out messages with a link to join the Discord server. I will then hook you up over there, and you'll have access to some really cool giveaways. I give away 4Ks, Blu-rays, digital codes, try and give away at least a couple of big movies, 4K Blu-ray titles a month, and try to do at least 2 to 3 giveaways for when it comes to digital download codes. And I might try and do a little bit more this month as well, because I'm always trying to add extra stuff to it. And also, if you are a $10 or up backer, then you have access to a special podcast that I'm starting to do with John the Flick Pick. That's right, John Flickinger of the Flick Pick channel. We're having a lot of fun with the podcast, and so expect that every couple of weeks. And of course, also any extra behind the scenes, extra footage, extra interviews, extra solo podcasts as well, you will also have access to. And my special $25 and up backers on Patreon Subscribe Star, you have access to all of those things that I've listed. You also get a t-shirt. That's right, I will send you a t-shirt for your first month. And of course, you can also be featured on the Chosen to Valhalla live stream once a month. You get to be featured on the Odin's movie blog channel. It's always usually on a Sunday around 12 p.m. Eastern time. You get to join some lovely peeps and have some really great discussion with all of the Chosen of Valhalla and me with the live audience. Anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.